Hello and welcome everybody. Blood Moon here, and I'm doing a video of one that I said I would do on my Instagram channel, and well, here I am. I'm doing a review of, my review at least, of the Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City movie that just came out on November 23rd, 2021. Without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so first of all, uh, there are some things that I didn't like about the movie, some things that I did like about the movie. Um, so, and also, if you haven't seen the movie, well, either you don't want to watch my review and get spoiled on it, or you can watch it and see what my opinions are, see how I compare to what your opinions are on the movie, and go from there. I'm gonna explain what I liked, disliked about the movie, the characters of the movie, and go from there. So, let's, I guess, get started on, hmm, let's get started on the fact that Screen Gem and Raccoon Films are the ones that are producing this movie, just as they did with the Mila Jovovich movies. Now, I liked the Mila Jovovich movies more than this one, and I'll explain why in a moment. Okay, so first of all, I did like their outfits. Now that is about as far as it goes with what I liked about the movie. Okay, so there's a few things I liked about the movie. One, I liked the fact that they did the costumes correctly. The outfits and costumes were done accordingly to the games. I am a huge fan of the video games. I was hoping that things would stay 100% accurate to the games. They did not, unfortunately. Um, it did explain and fill in some gaps of the older video games on what their relevance were on certain characters that really didn't get explained as much in the games as they did in this newest movie. That much I did like. Um, the way they had the layout of Raccoon City, the way they made it look, it could have been a little bit better, but at the same time, it could have been worse. So, could they have done a better job at it? Yes. Should they have done it as, like, 3 movies? Definitely. I think they rushed it too much. Made the same mistake they did with the Mila Jovovich Resident Evil Final Chapter, which came out in 2017. If I remember correctly, it was January of 2017. Right around the time of Resident Evil 7 video game, when both were being, like, promoted at roughly about the same time. Because I think if you went to, like, Resident Evil the Final Chapter on like, opening week, you got, like, a discount coupon for Resident Evil Biohazard 7 video game, which was the first one with, the character Ethan Winters. Um, let's see here. Um, okay, so they did a great job on the makeup as well. I'll give them that. But the mistake that they made with this was okay, so the Spencer Mansion incident in the Arklay Mountains. If you know your Resident Evil story of the games, you know that Resident Evils 0 and 1 take place at the very end of July in 1998, despite the fact that the first game came out in 1996. Um, Originally, anyway. So if we go, and then you have where Resident Evils 2 and 3 take place on the same night, leading up to the destruction of Raccoon City. You have Resident Evil 2 taking place about 30 minutes apart from Resident Evil 3. Uh, Resident Evil 2 deals with Claire and Leon. Leon S. or Scott Kennedy, as what the S stands for, is Scott. And Claire Redfield, who is the sister of Chris Redfield, which is in the video games anyway, the enemy of the iconic Resident Evil villain Albert Wesker. Which I'll do my own review of the character's timeline in a video later down the road. But I will be doing Resident Evil gameplay videos later down the road as well. So, uh, more on that later. Um, but with this movie, they decided that they wanted to actually do the events of Resident Evil's 1, 2, and 3 games all in one night, which isn't a good thing. They rushed it too much. And Resident Evil's 2 and 3, before, uh, probably a lot of you are saying, like, but Blood Moon, you're forgetting about saying when Resident Evil's 2 and 3 take place. Resident Evil's 2 and 3 take place from about 9:30 at night on September 30th into 6 a.m. when Raccoon City gets fully destroyed by a government-launched missile at 6 a.m. on October 1st of 1998. So, I just like to put that out there, that no, I did not forget. I got a little bit sidetracked, but no, I did not forget to mention that. The layouts and sets were good as well on the movies. They did a nice job on making the Spencer Mansion look appropriate for the movie remake of the video game. Some of the tiling, lighting fixtures were nice, where it wasn't too bright on the lighting. More of like a candle lit in the hallways. That was a nice idea that was a nice thing that they actually did do. Let's see, what next? They did end up keeping where Secret Passage was unlocked by playing the piano, and the music piece was Moonlight Sonata. So that was nice. Now, Wesker was not the bad guy in the situation, unlike in the video games where Wesker experiments on himself and he injects himself with I think it was the T virus, and then ends up getting pierced by his own experiment tyrant, or as he liked to say in the video game, uh, the ultimate life form tyrant. And then it breaks out of its test tube casing and pierced Wesker through the chest and outside his back, making us think that he was dead. His body is nowhere to be found. And so that led to, like, questions like, okay, did some zombies, like, drag his body off somewhere or something? And, well, by Resident Evil 3, if you played on Sega Genesis, you find out that there is a cutscene with Wesker in it. And Wesker isn't actually dead. Um, he actually helps, he's working in the shadows now, and helps Ada Wong escape from Raccoon City, which in turn leads to the events of Resident Evil 4, with Ada Wong working for Wesker. But I'm kind of getting ahead of myself on the timeline of Resident Evil. Um, but it was only on the Sega Genesis that they showed that cutscene until the Nintendo Wii and the Sony PlayStation 3 Resident Evil first-person games, which were the original prototypes, I guess you could say, for first-person Resident Evil games, which, they're okay. Resident Evil's Dark Side and Umbrella Chronicles. Dark Side Chronicles tells the events of the Resident Evil franchise from the timeline, from the aspect of Leon S. Kennedy, and Umbrella Chronicles tells the events of the Resident Evil games leading up to the events of Resident Evil 5 with Albert Wesker. So, you're a bit caught up now on the situation. Now, if you played either the original or the remastered in the early 2000s of Resident Evil 1, there's a body bag that pops up. Now, it's supposed to get shot, but if you play through all Resident Evil 1, there is no location that actually has that type of body bag in it. So it's like, okay, well, actually, let's save this for the next chapter. Okay, next chapter now of my review of the movie. Filling in the gaps of some of the events of Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City. In the original Resident Evil 1 game from 1996, and in the remastered version in 2010, I think it was. I don't know when it was. Maybe 2006. Yeah, it would have had to have been something like that. Um, there's that body bag, which gets shot. And if you play through all Resident Evil 1, there's no location like that with the body bag or anything. And so it's like, okay, well, where's the body bag? How come we never shoot a body bag, even though that cutscene shows that? Like, was it cut content? Was it not cut content? We also never know who's, like, in that body bag. Like, was it Albert Wesker? Was it not Albert Wesker? Well, I am happy to inform everyone that, spoiler alert, before I say it, and like I said at the beginning of the video, there would be spoilers, so turn back or turn off the video if you haven't seen the movie, or if you and don't want to get spoiled, or if you do, or if you have seen the movie and you just don't want to hear me talk about this. At the Just like with Marvel movies these days, you want to stay until at least halfway through the credits. Maybe all the way through the credits to know everything, because there are Easter eggs. Well, in Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City movie, they actually do show who's in that body bag. It's Albert Wesker. Now, in the Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City movie, Albert Wesker isn't the bad guy. Only Umbrella, for the most part, is. And he's trying to find out Umbrella's secrets on what. So, he's hired by a woman, which you don't know the name of the woman until the very end of the movie. Now, and I mean the very end of the movie. Halfway through the credits when there's an Easter egg movie clip. Or bonus scene, I guess you could say. Um, and you don't know who the woman is. Well, a woman ends up hiring Albert Wesker to find and gather the secrets and the virus and all that type stuff of Umbrella for a pretty decent amount of money. Wesker agrees so he can get out of Raccoon City. He's only in it for money, so not exactly in it for power or anything like that. Not going crazy with power or experimenting on himself. And I like that idea because I thought to myself, quite a long time ago actually, well, what if Albert Wesker wasn't the bad guy? What if we had like an alternate universe where Albert Wesker wasn't the bad guy? And they did do that. So it's and the woman that's hired Albert Wesker is Ada Wong. So Ada Wong is this now top villain. Again, we do have a AW initials villain, just not the one that we had in the video games. Now, I don't have a problem with that. Some people do. For me, I didn't. I'm somewhat of a big fan of Albert Wesker, be mainly because he is such an iconic villain, and even if they never bring Albert Wesker back, I think, and if they do, I'll be going over that more in another video. I think they could bring, in the games, they could bring Albert Wesker, or not Albert Wesker back, but some of the, one of the other two Wesker children, which are Alex Wesker and Jake Wesker. Jake Wesker was pretty into the game series, and we haven't heard anything about his character since Resident Evil 6. Alex Wesker, who was Jake Wesker, aka Jake Mahler, is Albert Wesker's son. Alex Wesker is Albert Wesker's sister, who was put into the game series timeline and storyline in Resident Evil Revelations 2. I'll be doing a full-on timeline video later down the road. I need to play through all the games in order to really understand the story aspect again. It's been a long time since I played a lot of the games, so, yeah. We'll be doing that later in the year. Probably towards the end of 2022. By then, we may have Resident Evil 9, then I'll have to play through that game and in order to actually understand everything, or we may have a Revelations 3 for all I know. I don't know. So, yeah. Yay. Looking forward to that. No, I'm not. Well, kind of. Okay, so, other things that they explained and filled in the gaps about was, like, Lisa, who was an experiment that went kind of wrong. She was this type of female monster character that Umbrella experimented on. And she was chained up. She had chains around her. You could hear the chains going around the mansion in Resident Evil 1. She had her arms, like, cuffed, kind of. So, yeah. They did explain more on, like, what Umbrella had done to her. Turns out she was a kid when Umbrella experimented on her and a lot of other kids too. So, yeah. Um, let's see. Re with one scene with a 8mm film projector, there is a scene where it shows a a brother and sister that are almost identical, hair color, everything like that. Now that's a scene in Code Veronica video game, but it really didn't seem like it had much of relevance to it, to the best of my knowledge. And it also showed that even those two kids they were possibly Wesker kids. Maybe not, but they were definitely on experiments of Umbrella, which they explained more of in the movie, which I was very happy with, and all that. They did end up showing Hunk, which, I mean, hairstyle and all that, there's nothing to go on. Um, so, I mean, outfit-wise, they did a good job. Um, I think they should have done a voice correctly, like, this is Honk from Bravo Team, or Delta Team. Whatever team he was part of, this is Honk from such and such team. Raccoon City has been completely sealed off. Something like that. Something of a darker and deeper baritone style voice. They didn't even do that. They didn't even adjust the pitch of the voice to match it properly. Also, I think the one thing, if I had to say anything and object to of the helmet of Hunk and the members of his team, mainly Hunk for the most part, was the eyepieces or the glass pieces of the helmet or mask. Um, they were completely black. Yes, I realized that it's the same way it was in the first Mila Jovovich Raccoon's Resident Evil movie, which I still have a problem with that, where it was supposed to be like Hunk, um, which I still don't like. I mean, it was, at least with the first Mila Jovovich movie, it had a mirror look to it, so it looked somewhat terrifying to be like, you can't see if there's an actual person inside. With this, it didn't even have that aspect. They should have had the glowing red to it to make it look actually somewhat terrifying as like the codename Grim Reaper. So that goes with that one. Moving on to the next segment now on what I thought about the movie. Okay, so hmm, where do I start with this one part on what I didn't like about the movie? I guess I would have to go with like the hairstyles of and the look of a lot of the characters. Now, they did not include Marvin, who was the black guy in the Raccoon City police station when Leon arrives there. I don't like the fact that they did not include that character. It would have been nice if they did. Again, they should have split this into 3 movies. It would have been nice to see Nemesis and Mr. X as being main villains in, or bosses, enemies to defeat in the Resident Evil movies, but alas, the only one was, G-Tyrant, which Sherry Birkin's father gets injected with a virus and becomes this monster and yada yada yada. Yeah, so they really should have done that. Um, okay, so with Leon S. Kennedy, they messed up on how he looked, they messed up on how Claire Redfield looked, they messed up on a lot of the characters, including, they didn't even include some of the characters that they really should have, like Rebecca Chambers, Brad, and Rico, I already stated Marvin. Yeah, so there were quite a few characters from at least Star's Bravo team, which Rebecca Chambers was part of, that made up this whole team of and story of the Resident Evil characters. They didn't include a lot of these characters, and um, so yeah, I don't like the way they did this whole thing. with that, it left a sour taste or a bitter taste in my mouth. Um, I would say no, they did not do a good job on the characters. Um, if you compare Leon S. Kennedy side by side on four different styles that he's had, the um video game remake of Resident Evil 2, the Mila Jovovich movie that he was in, which was Resident Evil Retribution, the animated movies, and the newest installment, Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. It is not a good style that they went with this one. His hairstyle is not good. They did do a good job on the outfit, hairstyle, and the way he looked through the face. Not a good look. He looks a little bit too old. He's only supposed to be about 19, maybe 20 at oldest. If I had to take a guess on how he looks, on what his age looks like, I would say he looks more like he's almost 30 years old in this newest installment of the Resident Evil live-action movies. Resident Evil Infinite Darkness, I didn't even make it through all 4 episodes. I lost interest with it. Even halfway through the second episode, I don't think they should have done it as episodes. They should have done it as a actual, full-length movie. Because 4 episodes, each episode is only 30 minutes long, and that makes 2 hours. 2-hour movie, just as the previous 3 not live action, animated movies like Resident Evil Vendetta were. They are all roughly close to 2 hours long. They should have kept it like that. My opinion, you can say what you want, but it is what it is. So, yeah, characters like Leon, I don't like the way they decided to destroy the characters. Sherry Birkin, characters like Sherry Birkin, and Albert Wesker, I have to say they did not do a good job on with the fact that, and Annette Birkin, I might add. So they did a good job on William, somewhat. Not, um, not really. They kept William's hair being blonde, which was nice and all. With Annette, see, in video games, Annette, William, and Sherry Birkin all have blonde hair. Annette and Sherry have dark hair in the movie, not in the games. So they messed up on that. Albert Wesker is also a character who's always had the blonde hair and did not have the blonde hair in this game. Or, not game, movie, sorry. They also decided, thankfully they did explain, speaking of Albert Wesker, they did explain why Albert Wesker wears the sunglasses. His eyesight, because of experiments, end up actually causing for him to have to wear sunglasses so he doesn't go blind. So his eyes can at least tolerate lighting again. So that's all that. Trying to think if I covered everything. They did do a good job on making the exterior and the interior of the police station, the Raccoon City police station, look good. I do have to Give them credit on that. Makeup, again, giving them thumbs up. A thumbs up, good job on the makeup. I love the way they did the makeup. That was incredible. They did a great job on making the Licker look like he's supposed to. Um, the train. Um, they did do a good job on the train that helps them escape from Raccoon City. That was a good job. Um, let's see here. The chopper taking off, that was good, but in the game the chopper doesn't crash into the mansion, it crashes into the police station in Raccoon City. Bad on Capcom's part. Um, I don't think there will be. In a way, I hope they do another Resident Evil live action movie to at least explain like what Ada has to do with all this. Why is she the main villain? They did explain that there are the Wesker children. But on top, other than that, if they're not gonna cover anything more about Albert Wesker and um any of the other characters, like Ada Wong, for instance, I mean they'll probably unless they go through like unless the next movie is gonna be like a prequel going and taking place with the events of Resident Evil Zero, okay, then fine, great. Playing more of the characters of like uh Lieutenant Billy Cohen and Rebecca Chambers with the Dr. Marcus. Okay, yeah, then fine. I'll be happy with them doing that. Another thing they got wrong in the timeline. Spencer is dead now, and Spencer wouldn't be killed off in the video games until Resident Evil 5, Lost in Nightmares, and that even takes place in 2009. A full 11 years after the events of Raccoon City getting destroyed in the game's timeline. 10 years after Resident Evil 3 comes out anyway. Actually, 11 years because Resident Evil 5 does come out in 2010 anyway. So they messed up on that as well, and I think Capcom really has lost their ability to do a movie. Video game, the video games are still decent at least. It still has the feel in the video games, as of it being the Resident Evil games. Um, but if they're just gonna do a new sequel and not explain like the story of what's going on with the character Ada Wong, Albert Wesker, and the others, and it doesn't have any relevance at all to the previous Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City movie, I would not consider going to it. Not in a theater anyway. I will watch it when it comes on DVD, but I won't watch it when it's in a theater because I will not spend money on it. If it gets included with one of the streaming services that I subscribe to, okay, fine, I'll watch it there. Like maybe Peacock, Tubi, Hulu, Prime Video, um, Stars on Demand, even Paramount Plus, and so on down the list. Obviously not Disney Plus because, well, we all know Disney's not gonna um do anything like that. They don't even have authority over Capcom. I don't think they would even want Capcom rights at this point. But yeah, so I can't really think of much else to discuss about. This pretty much does it for my review of the movie. If I missed anything about the movie, please let me know on my uh Twitter or Instagram, or just let me know in the comments down below on YouTube. Um, this was my honest opinion on the movie. It's not. I'm not trying to sound like cancel culture or anything like that. I don't want the movie to be canceled. I just I don't want to sound like Karen or Kevin. But I do think that there was some notable errors on Capcom, Screen Gem, and Raccoon Films parts that they needed to really take more time and put their heart and passion into doing with this movie. They really should have done it as 3 movies, um, or maybe 2 movies. Resident Evil 1 as 1 movie, Resident Evils 2 and 3 timelines of Raccoon City being as a second movie. So they really should have split it up, not doing it like this. But thank you all for watching, and we will see you in some gameplay videos. I will be uploading some gameplay videos daily very soon, but I've just been busy with other things, playing some video games, trying to think of what games to play. I've had some dental work done, had some fillings, that's been a bitch to deal with. Reading a couple books, taking it easy, watching some YouTube, and Netflix and Prime Video, Hulu, some Law and Order, CSI even. So yeah, I have been I have been recording some videos, but I just haven't gotten a chance to edit or upload them yet, and um the game, you'll have to wait and see when it comes out. So thank you all for watching, and as always for me, Blood Moon, we will see you on the next one. Hopefully at least. But until next time, we'll catch you on the other side.